fail to arrest or do the needful, then he's taken the action and done what has to be done to help fight illegal mining by destooling these chiefs, and that if they continue doing this, is going to cause their arrest as well. He mentions the unit committee member and the assembly member in that area, all calling them out. But you heard him quite clearly calling the DC out for inaction in dealing with this matter, because he has indicated that he had gotten these reports of these chiefs being involved in illegal mining for quite a while now, but there hasn't been any action, and so he had to do this. What does that say? Stay with us. We'll get into a conversation on that. But this is not the first time Otunfoɔ to the second is doing this. Let's go back into memory. November 2022, Asantehene Osajefo Amwetio for a pain also destooled the Benkomhene of the Asaman Tamfoi traditional area, Nana Boachi Dakwa, for his reported involvement in illegal mining. August 2023, the Asantehene Otunfoɔ to the second destooled the Bekwai Abodom Nana Saforo Koto for his involvement in illegal mining. That's not the only one. Then what we're seeing right now. So there's a track record of what Otunfoɔ has been doing over the period. And if you recall, that famous speech he gave at a conference was supposed to also address issues of illegal mining and calling out people who had gathered there, indicating that they know the people who are involved in illegal mining. And so something must be done beyond just the talk. Awula Serwah is the National Coordinator for Eco-Conscious Citizens, one of the foremost environmental NGOs we have in this country. She's joining us on Zoom. I will appreciate your time here on Ghana Tonight. And I'm sure you've seen this video by Otunfoɔ too, as was published by PEMSOR TV there. Now, certainly concerning, is it not? Because you hear Otunfoɔ too calling out the DC for his inaction in clamping down on illegal mining, reportedly involving these 3 chiefs that he has destooled.
Strikes me that there's a total breakdown. There are lots of rumors going around that the firefighters are the arsonists, meaning that those who should be stopping the illegal miners are either involved or complicit. And when it's going on and the DCE does nothing about it, then one begins to wonder whether or not the rumors are true. Why should it be the Asantehene who has to destool chiefs for being involved? What are the relevant authorities doing? But yes, the Asantehene also has a role to play, so we are glad he's playing his role. But then we need to look at the bigger picture. What are our DCEs doing? What are our regional ministers doing? And what are the authorities doing? And why are mining licenses even being granted in forest reserves? So there are lots of questions that need to be answered. And I don't think we are ready to deal with the problem. I'm not quite sure we actually realize that we face an existential threat. We seem to take the whole thing with a lack of seriousness. We don't seem to realize that our landscape is being destroyed, farmlands being destroyed, our trees are being destroyed, and our water bodies are being poisoned. What do we want to see? People dying of kidney disease and more maternal deaths and more deformed babies before we sit up. I think we have a real problem.
And you make the point about the authorities acting. Over the period, we've seen some interventions that have clearly not yielded much. We see illegal mining going on glaringly in many parts of the country. The government's position is quite different. They make the point that they're winning this fight against illegal mining. I mean, if you look at all of this narrative and the reality that we are faced with, how does that strike you?
Well, the one who appointed him, I should think. And then let me make it quite clear that we have some chiefs who are involved. I mean, we have a situation in Atronsu where the landscape is being destroyed, the farmlands are being destroyed. Information reaching us, I haven't been able to verify that the chief himself is involved or complicit, and attempts have been made to contact the Western North Region minister. He's not taking any action, and the devastation is taking place as we speak. So we have the situation where those who should be doing something about it are not particularly bothered, And rumor is that they might be complicit or they might think it's coming from above them, so they don't want to do anything about it. There are real difficult situations going on. And as I keep on saying, we can't be like ostriches burying our heads in the sand. We are facing an existential threat. You appoint somebody to do a job, the person is not doing the job. What do you think you're supposed to do? In my experience, you're supposed to remove the person. If he has committed any crimes, he should be prosecuted.
Right.
But the first step is to remove the person if he's not doing the job you appointed him to do.
I see, but here's where the concern is, that the president made a pronouncement, putting his presidency on the line. You ask specific questions of the person who appointed, for instance, this DC that Otunforsei is calling out that he should have acted even before he came in. Beyond the verbal commitment that we saw, have you, as civil society, been convinced by the narrative of government that they're winning or there's an improvement in the fight against illegal mining in this country, based on the evidence that we have seen and you have seen as well?
Well, I've been over this over and over again. If you put your presidency on the line, that I believe was 7 years ago, and right now, 7 years later, things are far, far worse than before you put your presidency on the line. There's a reason why you put your presidency on the line. You acknowledge that there was a very difficult situation, and it was more important than your being president. Because at this stage, it seems like all we want to do is to win votes. We're not interested in the welfare of Ghana or Ghanaian. But you seem to think about that and say that the situation is so important that my presidency is as important as the welfare of Ghanaians. 7 years later, things are far worse than before. Persons who have been accused of committing illegal mining this is brought to the attention of the president, and nothing is being done. In some cases, it seems actually to defend them, as in the case of Akonta mining, when the journalists had done a brilliant job, and there was photographic and video evidence of destruction of portions of the Tano Nimiri Forest Reserve. The person who put his presidency on the line was, well, what I could see, was more interested in defending the directors of Akonta mining than in doing something about the situation, in saying that, look, there should be investigations, and if the investigations so warrant, a prosecution. But no, this hasn't been done, and the so-called or the alleged perpetrators are still walking free. How does this encourage anybody to believe that we are interested in fighting against illegal mining? Having a mining license doesn't mean that one doesn't commit illegal mining. Just like when you have a driving license, you can still commit infractions.
I see, and maybe before I let you go, Awula, now we've seen Ade Otunforsei to the second take an action. As you have indicated, the chiefs must be involved in the fight against illegal mining. As you have also made reference to the fact that some chiefs have been reportedly involved in illegal mining themselves, as we have seen Otunforsei to the second take action. But the inaction that we're seeing on the part of the authorities that have to act, what else is civil society doing? Beyond, for instance, the advocacy that you have been on over the period.
Well, you see, we have sort of exhausted everything we can do. We brought it to the attention of the relevant authorities. The media has done a brilliant job. They can't tell us that if they are on this planet, they can't tell us that they are unaware of what is going on. They are choosing not to respond positively. So the only thing that has to happen is that Ghanaians need to be angry enough at the assault on their health. As I keep on saying, there are reports of maternal deaths, birth defects, an increase in kidney disease. Ghana Water Company has told us that they cannot keep on purifying the water or treating the water at the way things are going. What are we waiting for? When it came to pensions, Ghanaians were angry enough to do something. When it came to the sale of Snake's share in Labadi Beach Hotel and other hotels, Ghanaians were angry enough. The TUC, other people came together. They were angry enough to call for a national strike, and it worked. It worked. Snake backtracked or made a U-turn. But Ghanaians don't seem to be angry enough when their health is at stake. We face an existential threat. We don't seem to be angry enough. What's the point of having a pension when you are dying of kidney disease? Going on dialysis is not pleasant, and we don't even have enough machines. So why don't we do the prevention? Why don't we ensure that we're not being treated for cancers which are directly caused by the poisoning of our water bodies and the removal or destruction of our trees? I really don't get it. Ghanaians need to be angry enough. Today, I heard reports of some journalists effecting citizens' arrest, and I think that's a step in the right direction. But in some of the situations, the illegal miners are armed, so that's going to be very problematic. So Ghanaians need to be angry enough at the existential threat they face and do something about it, because the authorities don't seem to be bothered. They only seem to be bothered about winning votes. Votes to do what? You're not interested in the welfare of the people. And I have to say that I've seen or glanced through the manifestos of the NDC and the NPP, and they don't seem to have a grasp on what is happening. They don't seem to realize that we face an existential threat, and we have to fight seriously against illegal mining. And we need to pause community mining. We don't have our act together. We can't monitor them properly. And therefore, we need to pause it for now.
Right.
I've not seen that in any of the manifestos. I haven't seen that LI 2462, which is a very perverse piece of legislation, which allows mining in forest reserves, including globally significant biodiversity areas like Atiwa Forest.
And then also the Achimota Forest as well.
And
I know
areas can be mined.
Yes, indeed, and that's one that you have, together with Arocha Ghana and others, have sent a petition to both the CID and in fact the Speaker of Parliament on that particular LI. So this is one that we'll follow quite closely. But I will appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Awula Serwah is National Coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, environmental NGO in this country. Coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, the Finance Minister